Yo, yo, welcome back to Walk Talk. Talking about all things walking and talking. What's up, Walk?
How's Grady today, Jeremy?
Grady's fine. I got his snap. He was playing a little broom baseball.
We did hear from Grady today, as a matter of fact. That was really nice. Thanks, Grady, for being in touch. I know I, for one, appreciate every time you make an appearance in the group chat.
And every time we touch, I get this feeling.
Yeah, welcome back to Throwing From... I almost said welcome back to the Grady podcast, a.k.a. Throwing From the One. But technically this is Throwing From the One, a.k.a. the Grady podcast.
A.k.a. Dana White's Dirty Draws.
A.k.a. the Dana White's Dirty Draws show. We are back here for episode 25. Ableton is not cooperating with me right now. And also, I only have 19 minutes of disk space, so we're going to have to take a break in 19 minutes. But we can get to that in 19 minutes. We're here on a Thursday watching Chiefs-Chargers, potentially the greatest Thursday night football game of this season and definitely the last. We are playing a little Fox Sports drinking game tonight, but I anticipate it's not going to work because I can't hear the broadcast even with my headphones off, really. And I don't want you all to hear the broadcast because I think that's pretty illegal.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yes, you're right. I know it's pretty illegal. I don't think we would get caught.
But parody law, if you give commentary, yes, Patrick Mahomes touchdowns.
Pat McTuds. So is that something that you need tonight for fantasy?
Yeah, I'm in the championship, and I'm starting Patty Mahomes as I always do.
Who are you playing in the champy, Jeremy?
Taha.
Okay. I don't know if Taha has ever been mentioned on this podcast. I guess in a fantasy capacity, most likely. Well, good luck. I guess I'm rooting for you. Alex friend of the podcast, Alex Wong, in the building. My God,
in
Jeremy, what are our manners? How's it
he's
going
not
over
on video?
He's here. How's eating? What are you eating?
Just some fried rice I made.
Can we listen to it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds fantastic. Awesome. Okay.
The rib upset.
Anyway, 7-0 Chiefs. We released episode 24 like way late. My laptop exploded in pretty much every way possible except for literally catching on fire last week. Yeah. So that's all finally back together. The Patriots exploded in not every way possible, but a lot of ways last weekend.
Gronk is a bad free safety.
Gronk is a worse free safety than Devin McCourty. We can confirm that. You know what, Jeremy? As usual, I guess we're going to end up starting Pats. Because what the hell, man? I'm assuming... No, for sure. Everyone who listens to this podcast already knows about the Miami Miracle and the double lateral leading to the Kenyon Drake.
Lateral.
Triple.
Well, double before Kenyon Drake's, the lateral. It was caught by someone who lateraled to Devontae Parker.
Stills to Parker to Drake, I thought.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, double lateral, hook and lateral play, schoolyard craziness by the Dolphins.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
yes, so if you haven't heard the Patriots team radio call by Bob Sosey and Scott Zolak, you should listen to it because it sums up, I think, almost as well as the videos of crotchety old people live reacting to it, the feelings of a lot of Patriots fans on that play.
I lost.
They won? No, they lost. Yeah, you should know the video I'm talking about, but it was bad. I mean, that whole game was bad. To me, it very easily could have been a Patriots blowout and probably should have been. I mean, Jeremy, they blocked 2 punts inside the 30 in the first half, and then they lost to the Dolphins.
They also missed a field goal and an extra point.
And they missed by virtue of Brady taking one of the dumbest sacks of his career, they missed another extra point, or I mean another chance at a field goal as well, which,
I know what that's like.
granted, with Gostkowski, the 10-yarder is no given at this point. But, yeah, I mean, it's just...
I like him from 10 yards out.
I like him from 10. You're right. I can't argue with that. It's hard to feel good about this team when, like, without fail this season, every time they give me something to feel good about, they just turn around and just smack me across the face with it. Like, best defensive performance of the season against the Vikings, and then we're just going to get shredded by one-armed, one-legged Ryan Tannehill. Whap!
Well, the Vikings just suck.
I was going to say, and then the Vikings also just turn around and smack me as well, by continuing to be one of the most disappointing teams in the league this year, when I kind of liked them and was kind of rooting for them and definitely thought they were going to be good and picked them to be good. So they've let me down in that capacity. They let me down this past weekend in the Seahawks game, which was the final in that game, 21-7?
Yeah.
So,
but it was basically 6-0.
It was 6-0 until what? 4 minutes to go? 3 minutes to go? Yeah. So garbage time aside, 6-0. And the Vikings played like a team that scored 0 points for sure. I don't even want to start with that game. My point is the Patriots defense is still terrible. And any good feelings I got from the Vikings game are immediately gone because, they're so slow. Brandon Bolden, Jeremy, the former Patriot who you might not even know.
I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't even mean anything to you because of how bad Brandon Bolden was. He was a Patriots running back for literally probably 6 years he was with the team.
I'm surprised I don't remember him at all.
Because he probably had like 6 carries in the 6 years or 12 or whatever. He's a pretty good special teamer. He had some great special team seasons and some good special team seasons, which, speaking of, I'm getting ahead of myself because there's so much to get upset about in this game. Bolden had, I think it was like 2 carries for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns or something.
Nice.
Like ridiculous. And the one play when his long touchdown, which I think was it was a 50+ yarder, and it's just painfully apparent that they don't have any speed on the defense. And beyond that, they have some guys out there that are like borderline clueless and like important for them this season. Duron Harmon on that play just takes like it looked like a high school safety. He kind of like breaks down and runs up to the play while he has a back just sprinting at him full speed, and then Bolden makes a cut and he's just gone. Is the last guy in your defense, which there was a lot of that in that game because there was the exact same thing that happened with Gronk, where you just like you're like, oh, it goes from being mad like, oh, they're blowing this play, they're playing terrible defense, to, oh, no, they actually are about to score, as a matter of fact. And the first one, the Bolden touchdown, really just started to fill me with, like, dread is the wrong word and rage is the wrong word. No, they're both, it's neither dread nor rage, but, like, somewhere in between both, for sure. I just started getting this, like, like I knew it was just going to be a terrible, frustrating day. Diana left the house to get away from it and me, and then
you don't want to be around Walker when the Patriots lose.
Well, and then the last play, it was like everything just goes to the next level because that same feeling sets in, but instead it was like, oh my god, because Jeremy. I knew that's like, it's not even, to call it a trap game is incorrect because they lose it every year. How could it be a trap? It's like a suicide game.
6.
Like what do you call a trap that you stare straight at and then walk into with your face every single time? That's not a trap. What is that?
A sick thrill.
It's yeah, exactly. It's the Patriots adrenaline rush life scare game. Anyway, and then it went from plays in the first half where this just frustration just filled me up basically for the whole game, to the end, which I was really mad at very first when I realized they were about to score. It went from like acceptance because they pretty much did everything right at the end of the game, other than the fact, come on, Chargers. This is going to be frustrating to me as well because the Chargers are going to poop this game away.
That'd be real Chargers of them.
Anyway, the Patriots, aside from the game they played, did everything right pretty much at the end, and they like set themselves up to win. Miami got the ball back with no timeouts and 7 seconds left on the 31-yard line. And that's, you have set yourself up to win, and then they lost. So there's the immediate moment of rage fits there, because in the beginning of the play, I went through more like waves of emotions. I started with, okay, there's no way they're gonna score. Oh, cutesy, yeah, this is I was actually excited. I remember feeling excited, like, oh, this is a fun play. And then they got across about the 40-yard line, and I had said to Alex, oh no, they still have guys back. And then they got across about the 40, and that was after 2 missed tackles, and I'm like, wait, do they still have guys back? And then he gets to the 10, and it's just Gronk in the frame, and Gronk falls down, and he scores. And I look at the scoreboard, and they lost. They lost it. And like, Jeremy, they might lose to the Steelers next week. It's totally possible.
The Steelers suck, though.
I know they do, and I never pick them against the Patriots, regardless of where it is. It's in Pittsburgh, which helps, because, I mean, if it was in Gillette, this would be a classic Patriots comeback and
Pittsburgh have the
35-14
Saints
game.
the week after, though, so gotta win this one. Ain't it?
Well,
The Steelers, if they don't win this week, they're in serious trouble of missing the playoffs. The Ravens are only a game behind, and I think they win on the tiebreaker.
Well,
So if they go 2-1 and the Steelers go 1-2, then the Steelers would lose the division, and they could still end up with the 6th seed if no one like Miami or the Colts take that.
Yeah. I mean, I have, as it's for the first time, not the first time this season, but this season, I still have this, the Patriots, I'm not going to, no matter what they do the rest of the season until they win the Super Bowl, if they do, I'm not going to believe that they're anything other than just another one of these teams. And it's just, they tricked me with that Minnesota win and that they were rounding into form. And then they started to trick me with the first half. I'm like, oh, we're making plays. Brady's throwing the ball right. Gordon's involved. Edelman's involved. Gronk's involved. It was awesome. And then Brady, by the way, weird thing going on with Brady's knee. Did you see about this?
No.
Yeah, so he came off the field after, I don't remember what play it was, but it was a drive-ending play, so I think it was a touchdown. He came off and he like pretty much just collapses on the sideline, and he's like kneading his knee, sort of like working on it. And he said he was adjusting his brace, but they had training staff come over and everything and stuff. And he was not as good the whole rest of the game after that play. And it's weird.
Sketch.
I don't know. And he's been on and off the injury report now. The knee thing came up with the double pass, the bruising, and the potential knee thing, and he had his back problem, and I mean,
he's old. Walt.
He's old, Jeremy, and it's scary because at some point the breakdown goes from slowly degenerating him physically at first. I almost just made a terrible joke, but it goes from degenerating him slowly to like the Peyton Manning cliff where you just can't play quarterback in the NFL anymore. And like what happens if he just hits that in wild card weekend? It's cold, and he can't feel the fingies.
That's tough. Probably not. The Patriots don't have quite as good of a defense as the 2015 Broncos.
Oh, I mean, they're not winning a Super Bowl this year without Tom Brady being like Tom Brady for sure. But I don't know. I don't feel good. And the other thing about it is like there's a lot of guys on the team who I'm concerned with on an injury front now. Every time Gordon, Edelman, James White, and Gronk catch the ball, I'm like, is he okay? And Sony Michel. It's like actually Michel more than James White. James White I just would hate to lose more because if they lose James White, they're toast. They're not going to be able. And also, he played like 40% of the snaps and had like I think it was like 8 touches in that game, 6 or 8 touches, which to me is they've shown in the past that Bill's arrogance, which has lost them these games in the past, where he says, okay, we can just beat these guys with our basic stuff. We can save James White. We can... their defense was a lot simpler this week. They're doing all kinds of crazy. They confused Kirk Cousins big time in the Minnesota game, which not that hard to do apparently. But Tannehill,
Hey, don't insult my defense.
it's like Tannehill just has his best games in these. And I mean, it is, part of it is that I know they're like hyped and they're sort of pretending to make a playoff run, but part of it is that's just like Miami's Super Bowl pretty much every year. Like the Patriots game late in the season is like, we're going to have a home game. Our fans are actually going to be there and their fans are going to be there. And Kiko Alonso is going to come out and try and hurt somebody.
Classic Kiko.
It's going to be fun.
Taking heads.
What's the
Do
Broncos?
we need to take a break yet?
Oh, shit. Oh, wait a minute. Why are you even telling me this, Ableton? It's 18 hours of disk space. Why is that popping up? There's like an alert, 18 hours of disk space available.
So we might be going for a 24-hour live stream.
Okay.
Let's do that sometime, Walk. 24 hours straight live stream.
We just talked about this. Like, I can barely have a rum and coke on this podcast without falling asleep by the end of the hour and a half mark.
We'll take some Rogue Energy.
Rogue Energy, brought to you by Bubs and Fortnite and David Price
Mostly David Price
and Bubs.
and Bubs.
We should have him on as a guest since he's the only professional athlete. I know, esport or not.
Word.
Jeremy's brother is an esport athlete, pro Fortnite player. He's sponsored.
He is sponsored.
It's pretty swagging. Okay, we're getting off the list, Jeremy.
No, I put Fortnite on the list. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. The Broncos. Case Keenum, Jeremy. That's all there is to say about that. What's up with Carson Wentz and his broken back? That's not cool.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
He's likely going to miss the rest of the season with a fractured vertebrae.
I would hope so, with a fractured vertebrae. Yeah, I got the Bleacher Report alert or whatever this morning. Carson Wentz has fracture in vertebrae that will likely heal with rest. I'm like, whoa, you better rest then. That's not. I mean, is he has to stop, right?
Well, maybe.
I mean, he doesn't have to, actually, and I could imagine, I'm totally just talking out of my ass here, but I could imagine, like, a vertebrae injury where they say, like, we need to monitor this, and if it gets worse at all, then you're done, but in the meantime, it's stable and everything, it's just going to be painful.
Yeah.
But also, like, that sounds atrociously painful. Like, how is he even going to be a quarterback and throw the ball if it hurts him to just exist? Because your back is like that's everything.
Well, you could probably shoot it up to the point where you could throw the ball. The problem would just be taking hits at all.
Yeah, I mean, well, regardless, yeah, I can't see. That just sounds like a pain type thing where you're just not, maybe if you're a psycho and you're about to win the Super Bowl, you can play in that game through that, but like...
May as well put in the Super Bowl MVP.
You're young... yeah, exactly. No, seriously. I mean, for real, what's the whole point of him if... Didn't they sign him this offseason?
Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Well, he was already signed. They gave him a slight pay increase as a show of good faith.
Thanks for winning us a Super Bowl, buddy.
Yep. Here's $1 more million to ride the bench.
I would have no complaints.
They're going to ask for a little Foles magic again.
At Eagles?
They have... I know they played the Saints at some point, and they play the Rams this Sunday.
What's going to happen is they're going to put Foles in. Magic is going to happen again. They're going to make the Super Bowl. The Patriots are going to meet them there, and then it's going to be a reverse 28-3 The Patriots are going to be up like 21-7 going into the half against Nick Foles and the Eagles, and it's going to be an awesome, fitting vengeance game, and I'm going to feel really good. And then
You should probably make a prop bet on all this in Vegas.
I wonder what odds I could get on Eagles beating the Patriots in a 2-touchdown comeback this year in the Super Bowl.
Probably really, really good odds,
Probably pretty
considering
good.
the Eagles' playoff odds. They're at like 10%.
Why did they whistle that off? Wait. So they didn't have a free enough run to the quarterback, but then once he was actually going to get hit, they decided, no, never mind on the free play. Oh, it was against the Chargers. Joey Bosa just jumped off sides. They didn't whistle. They were giving Kansas City the free play, and basically two guys on the opposite side from Bosa got off their blocks immediately, had free runs at Mahomes after the no whistle, and they blew the whistle, Jeremy. No, you got to let him get killed here. Let him get killed. Come on, dude. Let's play some ball. Sorry, Jeremy. The Vikings do suck. That is indeed the case. Is this your what is your weird organization, man? We need to talk about the Seahawks and the Vikings together.
Do we?
We already talked. Yeah, the Steelers are out. The Vikings suck, dude. What is the deal?
Yeah.
I mean, so I pretty much complained about their offense through the entire game on Monday, and honestly, part of it was because it really made me realize how little the Patriots' performance the week before meant, and it just made me so sad. And it was such a sobering game to watch for me, because the Patriots are just one of these teams, and I know. Yeah, oh God forbid we're 9-4 and one of those like everybody else playing in the NFL and having to actually compete every Sunday.
We don't get a bye.
And not getting double buys every year with the tomato can game in the divisional round, but
the Texans down their starting quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Colts, like, who shouldn't have been in the playoffs in the worst division in football or whatever. But anyway, the Vikings should not be. I mean, that's kind of the problem. That's been what's frustrating me, I think, right now, is the number of teams that should be up here competing with the Chiefs and the Saints and the teams that have been pretty much elite without exception throughout the year. But, like, how many teams have the talent to be there and are just not, and a lot of them not even close?
Yeah.
Like, the Vikings are atrocious for the talent they have. I'm sorry, Jeremy, but they are so much more talented than the Seahawks.
Oof. Well,
imagine if they had a quarterback.
Well, I think the problem is their O-line sucks.
The O-line is a problem,
and Kirk Cousins can't deal with pressure.
But yes, so that's exactly. It's the combination that's the problem. Because if you put Russell Wilson in that offense, they'd be gangbusters.
Almost certainly better.
Because there's weapons everywhere. That's the thing. And I watch them, and I mean, I even borderline like their backs better than the Patriots, including James White as a pass catcher. Like, Dalvin Cook is a good player, I think.
I have not been as high on him.
I think he's good. I mean, I don't think...
It's like, for me, it's like the dude's played like 10 games, and every time I seem to tune in, he's having an off one, so...
That's possible. I haven't paid that much attention to him. He passes the eye test for me, which, yeah, I mean, I haven't watched him enough, but I like the look of him. Rudolph has been weirdly bad this year.
Yeah, he sucks.
Kind of a
Trust
caricature.
Me, he's been my fantasy tight end too many weeks.
Well, he's like a caricature of the whole team. It's just like, you look at him and you're just like, why? Why aren't you better? Why don't you just do stuff right? Just catch the ball, Kyle. Just catch the ball. You're open. Catch the ball. And you look at their defense, like, it's like Harrison Smith. Like, they have all these guys that are really good players, really athletic. Like,
well, their defense played really well
against the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but not really against the Patriots.
I mean, that's not 24 points. The Patriots isn't.
It's not a bad day, but I felt like the Patriots offense held themselves back in that game as much as anything, and sort of just the pace of that game. Their defense and I don't know where they are in the stats. It feels to me like they haven't been at the top of the league, and to me that should be one of the 3 or 4 best
I think
defenses
they're still
in
a
the league.
top 5 defense.
Are they?
Yeah, definitely top 10.
Okay, then the offense, dude, because the offense is the bigger problem, and the problem is I think it starts with Cousins. So they fired John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator, which I think it's weird for playoff contending teams to fire coaches this late in the season, honestly.
What are you going to do when you've put up 17 points combined in the last 2 weeks?
Well, I know, but what is firing him? Like, what are you going to do when you put up 17 points combined in the next 2 weeks now? Like, you just...
Well,
I don't think it...
The rumor is that Mike Zimmer wanted to run the ball more, and DeFilippo was not exactly obliging.
Well, we'll see about that. And I mean, I heard they were talking on the broadcast about the Seattle broadcast about not the Seattle one, but the what's their face, Witten, and anyway, ESPN's broadcast was talking about like tensions between Zimmer and DeFilippo, which to me, it's still like if you fire him, that still indicates that you're a dysfunctional team on some level. If there's like,
Well, there's no question that they've been dysfunctional this season.
well, you're right. I guess that's not a rocket scientist's take that the Vikings are kind of dysfunctional given their record. And
they haven't
and
won a
level.
game against anyone who is 500 or better.
So this is the
And that's entering
Jeremy,
the game.
This is the scary thing. Kirk Cousins in his career,
Yeah, 4-24 against
Yeah,
500 teams.
That's not good, dude. Because that's like, you look at like, I bet you like Eli Manning has a better record against 500 quarterbacks in his
definitely.
career. Like, you know, you want a gamer quarterback, even on a terrible team, is a guy who's going to elevate your team and hold you in games with teams you shouldn't play with. If you're losing every game that you should lose, your quarterback's not good enough, period.
Yeah.
Because your quarterback should be winning you some games if they're good
Well,
enough.
the problem with Kirk Cousins is, I mean, just like Monday night is the perfect example. Like, he played absolutely terrible, but he finished with 203 and a touchdown. Like, that, you look at that and you're like, that's not a terrible game.
I don't know. To me, that's like a 203.
20 for 33,
203 and a touchdown.
touchdown.
It's not a bad game, and it's definitely not as bad as it looks. But it's like the problem is they're like 203 and a touchdown every week, pretty much. And like in the modern NFL, once you start averaging like 230 pass yards a game, you're not a good enough offense.
Well, he had 27 yards at halftime.
Ugh.
And 80 of those passing yards were on the last
Wait,
drive down 3 touchdowns.
I saw somebody else this last weekend who really surprisingly had like 100 yards in the first half.
Russell had like 47 yards in the first half.
No, like a team had 100 first half total yards. Whatever. I can't remember the story of that. But yeah, honestly that was a pretty rough game. And it's just over for the Vikings.
They're still probably going to make the playoffs, though.
Yeah, well,
It's crazy
aren't
how
the Packers on the list?
Yeah,
Yeah, so how are dude?
it's crazy how like the NFC seemed like infinitely deep at the beginning of the season, and like literally half the contenders have just blown up.
I mean, maybe not blown up, but I would say it's like it is pretty.
The Packers are having a disastrous season, unless they somehow pull off the 6th seed, which is still possible. The Panthers have totally imploded. The Eagles are having a disastrous season. The Vikings, although they're probably still going to make the playoffs,
Yeah.
are really having a disastrous season.
I guess it depends on where like your line for contenders is, but yeah, there are a lot of teams that are just not in
Well,
it
I
at
mean,
all.
before the season, you thought the Packers would probably make the playoffs. The Vikings would probably make
Oh yeah,
the playoffs.
no. If we're talking about like good teams that are just not good teams in the NFC, really this year, you've got the obviously all those guys. The Falcons have been like
Yeah.
one of the worst teams in the league. And,
Yeah.
and I haven't liked the Falcons since before the Patriots came back and beat them in the Super Bowl in one of the most epic pants pooperies in the history of sports. But since, it's just been a spiral, and this season it's bad.
Well, like
They're
I said,
terrible.
they're not really they're only in the position to get worse every year, and they lost like all of their DBs this season.
Yeah. Well, and they I mean,
And
they've
Matt Ryan has definitely taken a
They've
step down.
had a lot of injury problems in general this year, but
They have no run game.
I don't even want to talk about the Falcons. I was just speaking to your point that there is a lot of the NFC is just actually, but I don't, I feel like there are disappointing teams in the AFC as too, but
Well, yeah,
just to
the
a lesser
Jags.
extent.
The
Yeah.
Jags are arguably having the most disappointing season of anyone.
Yeah, well, yeah, arguably, yeah, for sure, actually. The Jags have been disappointing big time for sure. I would say it's weird because, no, the Steelers aren't even a disappointment. This is just the Steelers. It's what they do.
If they make the playoffs.
I've been
it's like-
disappointed in the Browns a little bit.
They're still in
But-
playoff contention, dude.
But I know. So that's the thing is like they're doing, I said they were going to be close and like they're just a little not quite as close as I thought they were.
Next year, though, dude.
Next year, man.
No, dude, they're
We'll get
getting
it,
hot.
Cleveland.
Hugh Jackson is gone.
That's a good
The
start.
roof ripped off.
It is a good start. I think Hugh Jackson should have been gone before this year for sure.
Yeah,
But I get,
I think he should have been gone when he went 1-15.
yeah, that's kind of goes without saying, I feel like, but NFL stuff. There's dead rats in Oakland. A lot of them.
No, but there were literally 2 in like a soda fountain machine.
Like during the game.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 dead rats in the soda machine.
Yeah, man, it happens. There's rats where there's a lot of people. It's gross. And soda machines. That's a weird place because, I mean, it's sugar. I can see a rat being after just a sugar bomb.
It's just
But-
somewhere to hang out, dude.
It's true.
Cozy.
Yeah, that is cozy. It's like not. It's a big window in the front. I don't think that's what as a rat, feel like that's kind of the opposite. You don't want natural light. You want seclusion. And
No, but it's dark in a soda machine. What are you talking about?
do you think they killed him?
They were dead when they found him. They probably
dead
started to
rats.
smell.
That's
in,
the worst type of
They
rats.
probably started to smell in the soda dispensing
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah. I'm sure they did. That's the worst type of rats.
Can you imagine, like, if you went to the Raiders game this weekend and bought a soda, and then you heard that when you got home?
Can you imagine if you went to the Raiders game this weekend and bought a soda and a dead rat flopped down in the can thing instead of a
Like, just came
It just
right out the
blop.
nozzle.
yeah.
Liquid rat.
I found a disintegrated family of mice in a very old beer bottle in the woods one time. It was disgusting.
Fun.
Yeah. So, dead rodents, worst type of rodents, confirmed. Do you want to take a break before we do everything, or do you want to just go?
I don't feel like the rest will take us very much.
Okay. In the NBA, the Warriors are back to playing strangely bad, right? That's
Yeah,
the story.
They lost by 20, and they were down like 20-30 all game to the Raptors, who Kawhi wasn't playing.
So that's not good.
In Oracle,
Yeah, that's not good. But
Steph Curry had like 6 points or something.
I don't know. I just want to be cautious about this whole deal because, like, we're not listening to this at all. I just... Alex Wong, are you listening to this broadcast at all? I just don't want to overreact. I don't want to do the Warriors are dead thing until they don't win a finals for a season, at least. If they don't compete to 7 games in the finals this year, the Warriors are officially dead. But until that point,
I think KD's leaving anyway.
Well, and yeah, so if KD
KD
leaves,
and Kawhi to the Clippers.
I'm down. I mean, I'm totally down. Clippers is the next super team. Hey man, we just need something new. It's it's gonna be a super team, terrible league until these guys stop being so buddy with each other and until they stop having literally.
We need more players like Giannis.
And the collusion.
Did you hear
man.
what Giannis said?
No, what did he say?
He said, I can't work out with people and then play them a few months later.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. Why? Like, everyone loves each other in that league. We're opponents.
Yeah.
We need some animosity in the NBA. I want some, like, Joe Dumars and what was the big crazy Kurt Rambis. I want some.
It's because
like,
there's
flying clotheslines.
because there's no physicality in the NBA anymore.
Well,
Nothing starts beefs like hitting each other.
That's what I'm saying. I want some clotheslines back. But then also, though, I'm curious now that you say that, if they did start letting the game be played more physical and calling it like they used to call it, no more flagrants for any hard foul, et cetera, if we just had the tone from the referees that we had in the 80s and 90s, I don't think the players would play the same. They're softies. That
Yeah,
whole league is
probably.
full of softies now. And that didn't used to be the case. I mean, it's not, they're not NHL players. Like, they're not necessarily, like, losing teeth on the floor and playing with broken ribs and stuff. But, like, basketball
they all
players in the
know each
80s
other
and,
growing up now.
so that's a big part of the problem, and you can't cure that, is the fact that they just, fundamentally, they're all just friends. By the time they get
Everyone
to
in the NBA is just buds.
not all of them, but by the time they get to the NBA, it's like these guys have been in this, like,
Oof.
this community of elite basketball prospects, and like, it's a nationwide thing, and like, not every guy coming to the NBA is going to all these tournaments and everything, but like, I would be surprised if there's a guy in the NBA who doesn't have like a teammate who he grew up with who's like at least played high level basketball.
Giannis. Because he's foreign.
Okay, you're right. So yeah. So there are guys. I'm sure there are exceptions.
Luka.
But in general, it's like most of these guys, you can go back and choose one AAU team they were on that has 2 other NBA players on it.
Yeah.
Like, most of them at some point are playing in a super high level capacity, and they're touted prospects their whole life. They're always the best player on their teams, and it's a league of big babies, and it's also partly the game, because it is a very individualistic game.
Yeah.
It's like, to be a great basketball player, you have to be someone who is gonna say like, no, 10 seconds left, give me the ball. And it's not like, most of the time, oh, did he snag that, Jeremy? That is nasty, my man.
Are they calling him out of bounds? Oh, he hurt himself. Keenan Allen is raw.
That is ruthless.
Let me see this replay.
This is a catch of the year candidate, my man. Oh, he did. That is a freaky catch. Oh, he didn't catch it? What?
I think he's
Because
out
he
of
wasn't
bounds.
holding it
yeah.
by the time he... Dude. No, let's make the catch rule so that's a catch. Oh, if he would have just held it to his face mask.
Any grab that the refs deem super sweet may be overruled
That was
as a
dope.
catch.
Touchdown. No. Dang, almost catch of the year candidate by Keenan Allen right there, but
And
instead
now he's hurt.
he just has a hip pointer. Yeah, dude, until the Warriors blow up, getting back to the actual topics list, until the Warriors thing is over, or until they go one season without like being the best team in the league or being upset by LeBron in the finals. Like,
They can't be upset by LeBron in the finals.
no, I know, Jeremy, but do you understand? Like, I'm
Yes.
saying, like, it's until they like legitimately prove, oh, we're not still the Warriors that have been the best team in the league without question for the last 6 years or whatever it is, then like, I'm going to assume they're going to turn into that at the end of the season.
Did you see Michael Jordan slap Malik Monk?
Actually, no. I was studying. I read about it, and I laughed out loud just reading it and picturing that, which, like, I don't think that's allowed, because technically speaking, I mean, he's like, I know he's Michael Jordan, but he's Monk's boss. He's the president of basketball ops.
I don't know if there's any rule, but yeah, I heard him discussing it on like various sports shows, and they were like, imagine if this was like James Dolan, and he
Yeah,
just
that's what
slapped
I'm
one
saying,
of his
dude.
players.
That's like you just can't. It's like an executive can't
they were
just
like,
walk up to
but it
like a
doesn't-
mid-level operations employee and just be like, "Are you stupid?" Wow.
Well, the conclusion was one, he like smiled at him after, and like
That was a pretty good catch too, Jeremy.
yeah, but like the conclusion was that it doesn't matter that he owns the team because he's always Michael Jordan the GOAT first and Michael Jordan the owner second.
The conclusion on sports talk shows?
Yes, and I'd agree. Like it doesn't matter that he's the owner because
Oh.
he's still Michael Jordan.
My conclusion is that it's not even worth talking about. It's Michael Jordan. Like he could slap Adam Silver on the back of the head if he wants to. Like,
Nerd.
Yeah, seriously, knock his glasses off, pick him up. I know you can't see without.
You know what's crazy? Isn't Adam Silver like 6'3" or something?
He's pretty tall. I think he's taller than that. Actually,
Yeah.
I want to say he's like 6 because he doesn't
He
look
just
small.
always stands next to really tall people. I
I like
guess.
Adam Silver.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
he's been good for the game.
he's fine. Well, all it is that he's fine. I feel like the NBA is in a fine place, and he hasn't done anything to hinder the game. Hasn't necessarily helped it.
Better than David Stern.
He's definitely better than David Stern. And when he got the job, I read an article in, I don't know, probably Sports Illustrated about him, and it was nice about how he's just a nice boy from Brooklyn or Long Island or whatever.
So is Stephen A.
Yeah, Stephen A. is not nice. He falls asleep on TV.
Caught snoozing
And
live.
says very confusing statements,
He
getting names wrong and facts wrong.
Well, he said, I'm watching the matchup with Hunter Henry tonight, and Hunter Henry hasn't played all season.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I didn't think that was a real person. When he said Hunter Henry, I was like,
What?
What?
He's one of the better tight ends in the league.
Hunter Henry?
Yeah,
I have no idea who that is.
he's been a pretty good tight end the last like 2 years, but he tore his ACL in like April.
I'm not giving you one of the best tight ends in the league.
Statistically, the last couple of years he has been.
In fantasy, maybe. No,
Yeah,
he hasn't.
in
Literally
touchdowns.
just in Yeah, exactly. Just in fantasy, because he had 8 touchdowns in 2016.
That's how many yards
Last
he
year,
have.
478.
That's still like top 10 tight ends.
Okay, maybe, but top 10 tight ends does not one of the best tight ends in the game, quote unquote, make. Because we don't call. I mean, I guess Brady's not top 10 in yards, so. But no, if I don't know who he is, he's not one of the best tight ends in the game.
He's the GOAT.
No. If I don't know who he is and Stephen A. doesn't know that he hasn't been playing this whole year, then he can't be one of the best tight ends in the game. Because Stephen A. knows. I think me and Stephen A. have more
Except
in
he
common
knew
than I
he
ever
was
thought.
he was good enough that he should bring him up, but he just didn't actually watch.
Maybe Stephen A. is a fantasy player.
Well, then he would definitely know that he tore his ACL because that was a bummer.
That's true. Fantasy
Oh
players
no! Don't
miss stuff
take
like
it!
that.
Don't take it! Yes.
He's not going to take it.
He almost took it. Walk. What's next?
Do we still believe in the Celtics? I mean, yeah, they're not.
Do you still think they're gonna win the East?
Well, I still think they have as good a chance to win the East as I've thought since they came out and had an identity crisis this season. And I still think it's Toronto and them at the top of the East at the end of this year, regardless of the standings.
No spect for the Bucks.
No spec for the Bucks.
Giannis ain't doing it.
We'll see. I mean, they could humble me for sure, and I wouldn't be surprised. They're totally the type of team to do it, and I have watched one of their games this year, I think.
Yeah, they're
So-
not on TV.
Yeah. But I mean, the Celtics are on a 7-game win streak. They're still 5th in the East, but that's only because the Pacers are on a 5-game win streak. So whatever gives first, they have a they're half a game behind right now. So I mean, I think they're finishing somewhere in that top 4 most likely. I think they will pass the Pacers, and I think they'll probably catch up to either the Bucks or Sixers, but I don't know how much ultimately it matters if they're going to be playing Game 7 in Toronto, where they have been literally atrocious for the past several seasons. I mean, they're still not. They're on a 7-game win streak, but they're still not really playing up to their ceiling. They have a lot of guys who just aren't playing as well as they can play. I wanted to read it before this, and I meant to put it on the list, but Jackie McMullen wrote this piece, like basically saying Jaylen Brown, succulent Cam, no.
Rip succulent Cam.
Dang it, dude! It was almost gonna make it the whole time. Anyway, that sucks. Jackie McMullen.
No more succulent shots.
I'm gonna run up there and start it again. Jackie McMullen wrote
We're
this
almost
piece
done though.
basically saying Jaylen Brown is the worst player in the NBA.
Ouch.
No, not quite. But she did. I from what I gathered, the gist of the piece is that he's been one of the worst regular players in the game this year in terms of his net negative positive effect on the team, which I totally believe because I have not noticed him make a good play in a game this season. I don't think there's been a time where I've watched and been like, yes, Jaylen. Whereas even when Tatum does bad stuff, there's positivity, and he's still only 20. And Brown is only 21 or 22 or whatever, but still, I just watch him and I'm like, why won't you learn things? He dribbles like a robot. He turns it over
Beep boop basketball
all the time. He's like a 2K player, and in that he'll decide at the beginning of a possession. Sometimes it's very clear. It's they get the ball, they get it down there, get it to Jaylen on the wing, and you watch the possession, and you're like, oh, he knew he was gonna shoot that no matter what from the corner that whole time. Dribble in, post up, bounce back out, step to the corner, shoot a 3, miss it, or it's he's gonna try and get a layup off no matter what happens. So what I'm saying is it's like me playing 2K. Basically, he's gonna just circle around on the movie stick, and then at some point you hit the shoot button, and whatever animation happens. And I feel like Brown's just makes a decision, and then his body's just along for the ride, and he just jumps and miss layup.
Whee! Speaking of similar inefficiencies, did you hear Trae Young is on pace for the least efficient season of anyone who scored over 15 points a game?
That's rough. That's rough. I don't know how I feel about him as a player.
I haven't watched him play. The Hawks are never on television.
Of course not. Are you kidding me? I mean, I watched him at Oklahoma a little bit, but I just don't. I don't know. I mean, he's not.
I wasn't too hyped on him in the draft.
Me neither. Because the thing about him is what with his skill set, he has to be really good for it to translate. If he's not, basically, if he doesn't turn out to be baby Steph is the wrong word, but if he's not a nasty shooter and scorer, then he's borderline useless in the league.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in college, he did it with quantity over quality. He wasn't efficient in college either.
So that's a fair point.
So you
and
have
I don't
to
remember
give
that part of it.
You have to give this dude the offense, and even if he is what you think he can be, he's still not gonna reach that peak till 4 or 5 years into his career. So that's 4 to 5 years where you're absolutely feeding this guy till he pukes, and he's not great.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. And didn't they trade Doncic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got swapped.
Yeah. Sorry, Grady and anybody else who was down on the Euro thing and everything. If you watched that guy / did any research, he was going to be a good NBA player baseline.
Did you see Harrison Barnes he totally blew by his high five last night, and he high fived himself.
Doncic did?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I that's he's on the opposite side of it. That's a player who I love. I mean, I think that guy is going to be. He's like this year's. It's a bit of a stretch, and the play styles don't compare really, like barely at all. No, a little bit, but to me, he's like. You look at the career path of a guy like Giannis, and I see the same thing with Doncic, where I'm like, this guy has like almost unlimited potential. No, that's not fair because the athleticism and everything isn't there. But with his ability and body type, it's like this guy should be a Hall of Fame. Not should be, but definitely can be a Hall of Fame player.
It's really easy to make it in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, in the NBA Hall of Fame. No, but still, if you're a team and you draft a guy it's also a crapshoot in the NBA draft. So if you draft a guy in the top 5 and he's like a 10-time All-Star type of deal, you can't complain. Like what do you know? So and to me, Doncic looks like that type of dude who this guy should be one of the best forwards in the league for the majority of his career that he's in his prime. And it was like when you watch, the guy's the MVP of the EuroLeague at 17 years old or whatever, playing with like grown men who have been professional athletes for years.
Yeah, but they're all Euro and stuff.
They're Euro and stuff. I know, Jeremy, and this is what me and Grady argued about this on this podcast before I even looked into Doncic. I was just like, no, dude, you can't just. They're pro athletes, and that's the thing. There's still guys who get paid to train and have trainers and on these versus kids, and so then later afterwards, like I think was it this summer or it might have been while we were still doing the show with Grady, I looked into Doncic and he can play. I mean, he could shoot, he could pass. The passing is like the guy. That's it's to me. It usually comes down in prospects, and I mean, I'm obviously not a scout. I'm sitting on the couch doing podcasts for 17 people, but with
an armchair athlete
with prospects, it always comes down to that vision test. Like, can this guy play? Can you put him? Does he look like someone who you can contribute in some way? Does he have a skill? Does he have a physical, set that makes him unique? Nice. Oh God, dang it, Phil! I thought that was a perfect pass, but he missed him by like 3 yards. That was weird. Doncic to me is a guy who just passed that test. I just watched him in the pro league, and I'm like, oh, this is a 19-year-old who looks like a professional basketball player.
He's only 20, Walk.
Yeah, is he even?
I don't know.
I don't. He might be 21 for all I know, honestly. But anyway, I just watched him, and I was like, this is a guy who's young and obviously in the beginning stages of his career, but just makes the right plays. It's like there's a lot of stuff where you see plays where it's like, oh, you think he's gonna go up for the dunk and he makes the pass, or you think he's gonna make the pass and he Euro steps and gets an easy layup out of it, and just like he makes the right play. Which a guy that age, anytime you get something like that, it is similar to the feeling I get about Tatum with his scoring. When he hits those step back mid range faders and stuff, all these really tough shots, and he just clips the net like it's nothing. It's the same feeling where I'm like, oh, this is a special talent. This guy can legitimately. With Tatum, it's, oh my gosh, this kid can really score. With Doncic, I watch him and I'm like, yeah, that's a basketball player. I can add Luka Doncic to the list because I didn't mean to get this excited. But anyway, Trae Young does suck.
Harsh.
Steph was joking about the
moon
landing,
claims.
or so he says. Dude, NBA players, man, seriously, him and Kyrie. Somebody's got to take the crown from Kyrie of blowing wind out the rear, because Kyrie.
Who was it that thinks dinosaurs weren't real? Old NBA player.
Yeah.
Long gone. I can't remember who it is, though. But someone doesn't believe dinosaurs ever existed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Kyrie's, it's different, though. I mean, we've talked about it. It's just weird. Kyrie's just weird, man. No, who says fuck Thanksgiving? And
Kyrie.
And all, it's just every. It's
Did you see they asked, one of the reporters asked Kawhi what his favorite, after a win, should have been in a good mood, asked Kawhi what his favorite Christmas memory it was, and he said, not right now.
Not right. Dude, I need to I'm gonna get a label maker so I can.
Phil Riv throwing blocks? Nah.
No way. Oh, I slipped. So I can label my keys so we can get the Kawhi sounders rolling again. Because I want a not right now sounder now. Not right now. What? Well, when Kawhi? Do you want me to call you at home? Like on Christmas morning? What? When is the time?
Not now, Walk.
Jeremy, what is going on with the reimagining of the Mariners, dude?
I really
I'm getting
don't
confused, dude.
That was one of the most confusing notifications.
Isn't so the Mariners trade
I mean,
for
Edwin Encarnacion is not what he was. He batted but he's still a productive player. He batted
he's a good player, but isn't he on a massive contract though?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's on the Cano deal. Like they traded, I guess they traded for a more productive guy on that deal now, but I'll get the numbers, but
I think he batted 250 with 110 and 30.
okay, so that's, legit production, but what does he do for you? You get a 35-year-old designated hitter?
You're asking me, Walk. I don't know.
And let me check the contract cuz I feel like yeah, dude, he's making $20 million per. Okay, he makes $20 million per this year and next.
Nice.
Is this right? Maybe I'm reading this website wrong, but either way, it's $20 million, and I mean,
could have kept Gene Segura for that.
That's my thing, dude. It's like, what? Why would you go out and trade guys who are established players for your franchise for? Even if it's a lateral move, when you do that, it's negative because you're resetting your momentum with the fans, with the chemistry of the team, with guys being comfortable with where they are. I think
that's part. I think part of the reason why we've blown it up so hard is because the team wasn't getting along.
So that might be.
And I think the rumors that Gene was a big part of that.
Okay.
Gene and Robbie and D. Gordon were all rumored to be in the middle of the clubhouse scuffle we had in August.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that actually does make sense. That's a good theory for the whole thing is that they basically have just said we know this isn't going to work just based on the mix in the room. Everyone's going and we're just going to retry, which I think you could be, still live a little bit in the middle and do it elegantly somehow, keep one or two of the problem guys and make it clear to them that the problem stuff is not, if it's clear to these guys to the guys in the locker room, rather, if the team,
so far we've kept D. Gordon.
The weirdest one to keep though. I guess not, but I would have kept Segura. I don't get that. Or a Diaz.
Yeah, well, I don't think Diaz was at all the problem there.
Diaz was just to get the deal done. Because he was obviously their most tradable asset.
Yeah.
But it's weird, dude, and it's we talked on episode 24 about them spending money on renovating the park and. It's weird, man. I don't get it with that team.
Did you hear the Suns owner threatened to move to Vegas?
Oh, yeah, I meant to
Seattle?
put that on the list. Yeah, so what does he think he's going to do? Just show up with his bags and, hi, Seattle, we're here.
And Seattle's probably down.
To what? Put him in Key Arena?
Yeah.
We're going to have an NHL team and Jeremy. Oh, my God. We talked about, I don't want to make this the Seattle Traffic Podcast, and we talked about it on
Seattle Live Traffic Report. We're looking at about 45 minutes from North Seattle to Everett right now.
Let's look at if we looked at cities where an NHL team and an NBA team, do the Thunderbirds play there as well?
No.
Okay.
The Thunderbirds play in Everett or something.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh. I bet if we looked at all the NBA and NHL teams that share buildings, it's got to be almost every night they have events in the winter. So we're going to have Key Arena every single night with 20,000 people in there.
Key Arena party. It only holds 17,000. Walk.
Even better. Even better. So we're going to have jokey pretend NBA games that ruin... Oh, dude, Keenan Allen's hip is broke.
That's a shame.
That sucks. Yeah, he's going on the table. Oh, the tent's going up. Yeah, dude, it's not going to... I mean... You know, I'm all for any pressure put on the city, so I hope the dude... And also, I'm all for any pro sports leaving Phoenix, because, frankly, every single team that's ever been there has been a joke, pretty much, and this city has never supported any of them. So what are we doing? Like, what, the Cardinals had one good season.
The Diamondbacks won a World Series.
With Randy Johnson? Yes, okay, so we've got 2 good seasons. Do they care about the Diamondbacks? I mean, actually, you know, I think the Diamondbacks do get a fair amount
The
of
Suns were
support.
good when Charles Barkley was there.
I guess. I mean, they won a bunch of games in the regular season with Steve Nash and, what's his face? Mike D'Antoni.
Amari Stoudemire.
I was thinking of D'Antoni's
Do you know?
fast break. Really, Mike D'Antoni, the pioneer.
Do you
I should
know
say.
Amari Stoudemire is still playing in Israel and has like become like a full like traditional Orthodox Jew?
I knew about the Judaism thing has been a long time coming with him. Because he while he was still playing for the Knicks, he went to Israel and converted.
Yeah.
I did not know he was still playing, and I didn't know
Apparently
he
he's
was
still like
Orthodox.
the biggest player in the Israeli league.
I could see that. Just very big fish, small pond. Although he's got to be like 40 years old by now. Mari Stoudemire.
Doesn't matter when you have a 1.5 feet on everyone else in the league.
True. He's for
Hey,
him,
give me the ball.
it's like going down to the Y. He's just like tired. He just puts his hands on his knees for a whole defensive possession and then still blocks the shot. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, get every team out of Phoenix and get any team into Seattle. I'm down. And if Seattle's down, then car commercials are making me mad these days, Jeremy. We're running out of attention span now.
Walk's getting mad at car commercials. We're devolving into the Walk Rage Hour. What are you mad about today, Walk?
Car commercials.
Anything else?
They don't have anything to do with the cars.
That's usually true.
That's all I'm mad about right now.
Walk's in a pretty good mood today.
Yeah,
Finished his final.
I'm done with school for the quarter.
Forever.
It's good. No.
Dropping out. Joining the Navy.
Nope. Maybe.
Navy Walk.
Thinking about it.
You could
Grady.
hang out with Grady all
Hit me
day.
up.
Dude,
If
you
I-
could play broom baseball.
I
Broom
could.
baseball, Walk.
It's called broom ball, Jeremy. I think that's all we got. We'll be back next week live from the barracks with Grady. Like us on
Oh my
Facebook.
God, my leg.
Subscribe on YouTube. Comment. Oh my God, we forgot to mention we got our first YouTube comment.
Henry.
Yeah,
Friend of the podcast.
friend of the
Henderson.
podcast, Hen Dunn. You're the best.
He
Everybody
shouted
else,
out Wang
comment.
Munchin.
He did shout out Wang
He
Munchin.
said Wang keep munching.
Yeah. Wang kept munching, dude. We are killing it in the fan department right now.
Wang's still munching. He actually hasn't stopped munching
Shout
since
out
the
Hen.
last episode.
Shout out Triple P Salad. Shout out Grady. Like us on Facebook at Throwing From The One. Subscribe on YouTube. I think it's time to party cast, Jeremy.
All right. Walk's never down to party cast. Oh, just read. Oh, party cast mode. Philip Rivers to